All right, starting the broadcast. I'm going to need the first person on here to tell me that they can hear my audio because last time I was sitting on here talking for 5 minutes before somebody said, "Can you hear me?" So I'm going to ask, can you hear me? And I need somebody to reply to me because I literally don't want to be in here for talking for another 10 minutes or 5 minutes again. Good to go. Yay. Okay. Because I got, this like cool new microphone that I was super jazzed about. And my computer told me it could hear me. I could hear me clearly. But then, 5 minutes in, someone's like, "Am I having audio troubles?" Yeah, clearly everyone was because it was my problem. So, story of my life with tech issues. Thank God I have an amazing team of people that are fantastic with technology and they help me out every time that there's a struggle. So thank you for telling me that we're good. To my lovely husband, who should really be the one doing this, you guys. He is the guy with a sports med background. He's the one with the biomechanics and the agility and the people who just love in the office when he's looking at their bodies and talking about movement and, whether it's golf stroke or baseball bat swing or stride with running, he's got that eye for it. So when you are in the office, and Dr. Stromer as well, and we've got Dr. Stormy, who is fantastic with children like I am, and child athletes. People just love to hear back from those guys and watching how the body moves, which is really important. And what's really we're going to be talking about tonight is kids in athletics, sports performance. I know that there's probably parents on here that would love their child to have a cutting edge on sports. That's kind of, if you're the sportsy competitive parent, I seriously am. We want our kids to win, right? Like we see our kids pour their hearts and souls into how they're playing their sport, and they just really have this heart to win and try so badly. And then, they're defeated by whether it's an injury, whether it's they can't keep up with their peers, or they just can't figure out coordination, agility wise, how to get their body and their brain to work together. And if you've heard me talk before, you know that I'm talking all about the brain, and sports is really about the brain. I'm sure many of you know this, but not fully know it. Most people look at the body and they're like, "Oh, look at that," "Ooh, man, look at that body." It's got the muscle tone, it's got the flexibility, it's got the movement. That's an athlete. And not only is it about a mindset game in the brain and how well you can perform, we all know this. Like, the body can perform, but can we get the brain to say, "Yes, I can do this. I can do one more rep. I can be on the court for 5 more minutes. I can make 10 more points. Yes, I can hit, this friggin' base hit is all we need. I can get up to the plate and do it." It is a mind game. But really, your brain is also a physical game. It is what is controlling the body movements, the body awareness, the speed, the agility. What's going on inside of that athlete is all up here, but we see it in the movement. As parents, we can see someone and be like, "Oh man, what an athlete. They've got great lung capacity. Look at their run, their stride, their agility, their ability to change directions." It's here. It is literally the neurological connections in the brain. So anybody who knows and has been in my office before, we're looking at how a body moves because we know that's how the brain is connected. That's how well the brain's getting feedback, whether it's fast, whether it's slow, whether it's clumsy, whether it's in pain, whether it is someone that's having some random, side effects of any sort of what we call side effects of stress. Other people might call it disease or some sort of diagnosis. We're looking at the brain. And we know the brain's largely tied to movement. Of course, it's tied to organs and glands because it's a master control center inside of the brain. But most parents are in the office who have a little bit of a secret behind what chiropractic care can do for their child and their athlete. They know that every single major sports team has a chiropractor. They, of course, have all sorts of other therapies and services as well. And we look and say, okay, wow, what is this chiropractic care able to do for a child? And I'm not even kidding you. my mind has been blown by what a body can do in just under one adjustment, what a body can do. Not only can it speed up agility time, reaction time, precision on where your limbs are, strength and how well those muscles can flex, and your body's ability to rest and recover. Because our biggest thing that we'll get with parents of athletes is their kids tired, their kids lethargic. They don't even want to get up out of bed to practice their sport. They're bored with their sport. They're literally bogged down and it's not exciting anymore. And here's the thing, we can blame often the parents for overworking and overscheduling. Yes, that is totally a thing. A child who is in more than one sport and more than one time, plus they're academically rigorous and they've got to, clean their room and babysit and do their homework and every other thing that might fall underneath their window of responsibility, that can get super overwhelming. The biggest thing is the brain and the body not being able to keep up with the demands of the child. And really what that turns out to be is a lack of the body's ability to heal, the lack of the body's ability to actually retain the information that they've learned. And I'm talking academics or sports, either and both. Retain the information that the body has learned from what the organs and glands need. When the body can't heal, the body can't grow and it can't move forward. So we might see athletes that are just, they hit up to a plateau of this is as fast as they can run. This is as far as they can run. This is as fast as they got a 40 time. They've got an agility. They can, hit a layup, move past somebody on defense, on offense. They're like, this is their box, this is our window, and we've hit this plateau and the ceiling so many times we can't get past it, or this child can't learn something new as far as that sport is concerned. And the parents are often looking at like, oh, we got to get a coach, right? We got to keep practicing. We got to do it over and over and over again, which yes, habituation comes from practice, comes from making those neural pathways. But if those neural pathways aren't accurate, and if those neural pathways can't actually be formed and restored, is when we really start to run into trouble in the healing and repairing side of it. And that's where kids will start to lack and be tired. The bodies can't keep up. Their muscles can't keep up. Their digestive tracts can't keep up. Their immune systems can't keep up. And their hormones can't keep up. We know if I'm talking to a parent of a teen athlete or a prepubescent athlete or someone that's just hitting into puberty, someone's going through puberty, boys it's still hitting puberty into college. So even my sister, who is a female, she grew, I don't even remember how many inches she passed me up in college. She left high school shorter than me and came out of college taller than me. And I was like, how does that even happen with a 22-year-old female? You're leaving college taller than me. So people are still growing. And the big part about the healing is where we really need to hit home with a lot of families. And even though I'm going to talk about this as well, nutrition is super important. Hydration is ultra important. Eating and feeding your cells well is really, really important. What you put inside of your body is fuel. And that needs to be high quality fuel. Like we cannot slack off and feed our athletes McDonald's. We can't slack off and feed our athletes tap water. I'm not even kidding. Like it is so toxic. We just can't expect them to have peak performance and feed their bodies junk. Yes, they're going to need some high dense nutrients to replenish all of the repair that it's going to need. Everything that they used and expended during the day, they need to replenish that with high quality supplementations. We're not going to go into all of those things. If you have questions, you can pop them in the chat. My husband might be able to answer some really specific questions of like, what kind of water do you drink? What kind of supplementation are you talking about? What kind of foods do you eat if you don't eat fast food and McDonald's, right? Pizza and burgers and French fries. What's going on? And we all know the right things to eat. Sometimes we don't necessarily understand the ratios and the macronutrients and the micronutrients that are needed, but that is going to be highly important for an athlete, especially if you want a high performing athlete. And I would rather have a high performing athlete that's fed their bodies magnificently and sleeps fantastic at night and gets the adequate sleep than one who over practices and overworks and has a coach and doesn't stop. I love that determination, but it's just going to be wasted energy. We're going to expend energy that can't be made up because we're eating like crap. We're not sleeping, and sleep is such a huge piece of growth and development. So I want to explain to you a little bit about what we're looking at. We talked about the brain, and the brain is part of all of the way the body moves. The way the brain gets feedback from the body parts also matters. That's where chiropractic comes largely into play, with that agility and the speed and the neural connections and all of that. But that brain's got to be fed well, and it's got to be able to recover and sleep well. So we've got two modes of operation inside of our nervous system. We know our brain and body control everything. It's processed through that spinal cord as to pick up information in and around us. We have a stress mode, we have a fight or flight mode, and that stress mode is triggered, yes, during athletics as well, because we want adrenaline pumping. We want the body to be able to increase the heart rate. Like, think of what your body does when you're out for a run or exercising or playing in a sport. The heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, the blood has been shunted from the internal organs out to the limbs to be able to run, jump, do anything that you need to do. Not only that, but what we've done is turn up our senses. So the vision is turned up, right? We can hear better, we can see better. We've just got adrenaline pumping through our body. We can feel better. We've got tactile responses. And our brain becomes very reactive and impulsive. So some of the athletes that already have these beautiful neural pathways that they've made and they've rested and recovered to build up, they're going to be able to go into more of a primate brain and be able to just get their job done because they've already made those neural connections, not necessarily under stress, but also under stress. We want that fight or flight, that sympathetic is what it's called, side of your nervous system, to be turned on, right? That is really good feedback to the body. And for the most part, a child should be excited to play sports. If they're frustrated and pissed off playing sports, it's not going to go well. They're not going to make great neural connections. They're not going to make good association with the sport and with feeling good about it. And that's when we kind of dwindle out as well. The other side of the nervous system is the rest, heal, repair, digest, growth, development side of the nervous system, your parasympathetic nervous system. And that nervous system is the one that's missing out if you're missing out on sleep. That one's the one that's missing out if you're missing out on high dense nutrients, enough hydration. It has to run the show in heal, growth, and repair. And if you ever read any books, and of course I love science and I'm a book nerd, but if you ever read the book Why We Sleep or anything about sleep and how they watch the body and what the brain does while the eyes are closed, and how it learns what happened throughout the day, it digests the information, it decides what to keep, and you're doing it at about a quarter of the speed of what you did during the day. So the body, while sleeping, is going to learn what you did during the day and decide, do I need this? Do I need to keep this? And those same neural pathways are actually being paved. It's the craziest, most amazing, beautiful thing what the body does. But if it's not getting sleep, it's not going to make those neural connections. So you might be just overworked and overpracticed and your body can't heal and repair. Well, now you're having a demand on the body that causes it to start to lose the battery charge. It starts to lose recovery. It starts to not be able to heal from injuries appropriately. And you just kind of dwindle away to exhaustion and fog and, just loss of joy. The child and athlete isn't excited anymore because they don't have that side of the nervous system operating the way that it needs to. So we need to stimulate that. And there's ways to stimulate that. We know that chiropractic care and chiropractic adjustments are stimulating that side of the nervous system to be able to do what it needs to do to heal and repair and grow from the day, from whatever stress had occurred, good and bad stress inside of the body. It's highly, highly important, and especially during puberty. And I know a lot of parents that are on this webinar. Then Cookie, yes, Jeremy, if you could answer that question, or I'll answer it at the end of it, of how important that water is. But that sleep at the end of the day is what's going to be the most important in order for those athletes to be able to do what we're asking them to do. And then things that you need to do at home or train your athlete to do in being able to stretch, recover. I mean, we need flexibility in those joints. Those flexible joints are strong joints and they're fast joints, not over flexible, but a long muscle can actually contract quick, a lot longer and add more speed and agility than one that is tight and short. It can only do this. So getting a really good stretching routine is going to be great for our teens. And as I was saying before, if they're in the middle of puberty, you're going to want a lot more rest than the average child is going to get, especially one that's in a bunch of sports. And I've got kids right now in my office that are starting football and basketball and weight training. So if you're doing that much for your body and you hadn't been doing anything right? Like people were quarantined, and unless you had a gym in your house and a coach that you were hired and were training, all of a sudden you're over here doing nothing, and then you do all of this, that body's going to need a lot more healing and recovering. And I'm seeing that right now in our office is really tired bodies that aren't able to heal and repair. They're not able to make those neural connections. They're so important with sleep, so important. So they've done a research study. This is so cool. Once again, I love science, but they had done a research study in Denmark when they looked at patients, and they literally only gave these patients 2 chiropractic adjustments, which is just for me like mind blowing. And they've watched the body's awareness of where the elbow was at in time and space. They've also done it with feet and how fast their feet can move and react, and they even do it in the elderly, which they've seen to reduce being a fall risk. Well, in an athlete, we of course don't want to be a fall risk as an athlete. We want to be fast and be able to have some really fast reflexes and know where we're at in time and space. That's called proprioception. Proprioception tells our limbs and our brain where our body is. And when we have really good limb awareness, we can be very precise with our movements. Eyes open and eyes closed. That's one thing that I'll do during new patient evaluations is we'll look at a patient and see, okay, I want you to move your body in balance with your eyes open, and then I want you to close your eyes. Now, when I've taken away your visual field, your brain is just relying on where that body part is in time and space. It can't visually see it because typically we can see our hands and our feet. We can look at them and watch them move. We can do this in sports as well, unless we want to get really, really good at it. We don't want to be staring at our hands while we're dribbling a basketball, right? We need to be able to do things without looking, but that means we have to have high awareness of where our limbs are. So they had done that research study and watched the improvement just with 2 adjustments. And they had done another one in New Zealand where they were having a control group flexing their muscles of their legs and a group getting a chiropractic adjustment and being able to contract their legs. Well, they're asked to contract their leg over and over and over again, where the control group got completely fatigued. And the chiropractic group actually got 20% stronger in their muscle contraction. It just, for me, you're just kind of like mind blown. We get to do this every day as chiropractors. We literally can't even know the internal changes that are happening between the brain and the body. We've known when they hook people up to electrodes, the brain has clearer communication with the body, and every adjustment helps clear that up and helps the brain be more aware. Awareness is huge with athletes. It's huge with adults. And if I've got a patient coming in who's an adult and they might just be walking through the doors with some GI complaints and low back pain, well, we know that the GI complaints and the low back pain, those are the same nerves, but we say, well, I wonder why your body's not healing. What's interfering with your body from healing? Because you should be able to heal from back pain or GI upset. What's going on? Let's look at the interference. That's there. But when you see they lack a body awareness, now we know that they are unable to make that motor connection, and their brain doesn't have a good idea of where their legs and their pelvis are. Now they're using weight abnormally and wearing and tearing on joints that they shouldn't be. And all of a sudden now the body's saying, ouch, that hurts. I'm trying to protect myself, because it wasn't having a really good awareness of what was going on in and around them. It has to make the best decisions with what it has. It doesn't want to make errors. It doesn't want to make mistakes. It wants to be precise and coordinated, because that's what it's designed to do. Our bodies are designed to self-heal. They're designed to self-regulate. They're designed to be healthy. They've got to get the right input. They have to live in the right environment to be able to do so. So I have a really great story about a couple great stories about my own kids and own athletes in here who have come into our office, who've been under chiropractic care, improved their 40 time, improved body awareness, improved their 3-point precision. I mean, it's just fantastic. And when I see children start to do this, I'm so excited for them, because I want a child who's working really hard to see the results and to have the fair, like a fair playing ground for them to get the results. If they're willing to work hard, it's not necessarily their fault that their brain and body aren't talking the right way, and they're looking for input in other ways, and they can't make those precise, body movements that are there. But I had Hunter, my oldest, had jumped up for a rebound, and as he did it, his ankle gave out, which, probably not great body awareness, and this is going to happen. Chronic ankle sprainers don't have good body awareness of where their ankles are at. Well, instead of spraining the ankle, he actually twisted and broke his foot. And he had to be in the boot, and we had to go through this whole thing. And they had said, this kid, this happened the last weekend in February. This was years ago now. I couldn't even tell you the year anymore. They had said, he is not going to be cleared for agility until August. Well, his parents being a chiropractor, I knew if I was adjusting him, if I was working on him, and once we got the boot off, if we started working with mobility, we started letting the brain know where that joint was at, that it was going to start to be able to heal and recover faster. Then as soon as it was totally healed, we were able to adjust that joint and give feedback to the brain. That kid ran a 4x1 relay and then broke his school record that May. So, and of course, everyone's like, whoa, how did this happen? What's going on? He shouldn't have been able to do that. Well, that's because most people don't have chiropractic care under their belt, and their brain doesn't have that feedback. It's got to rely on gradual incline instead of a body and a brain that's had the input that it needs in order to be able to respond the way that it needs to, with the agility that it needs to, with the precision that it needs to. I had my Landon, a lot of you know Landon's story, and what got me into neuro-based pediatric care is that kid was not as coordinated as the rest of us were, and we didn't know if he would ever be able to play sports. Well, once we got that child's brain calmed down and organized, he's playing basketball, dribbling, tried out for the first time playing in a basketball team, getting the most rebounds and the most points on his team. And it was just such a win for that kid, because he didn't, when he was little, have the brain and the body awareness to even catch a ball. In our family bonds over sport. So something that we thought he was going to miss out on, and now he's doing absolutely amazing. And there's so many stories. I don't know. Oh, you did answer a little bit on Cookie's thing here, but there's so many stories. That first story, we had a walk-on BSU patient that was able to play for the BSU football team. And it's just so heartwarming for us to watch athletes be able to come into their own and be able to have that neuroadaptation that they need, to have the body awareness that they need, that their hard work is paying off because their brain and body are fully connected. And they can also reach out to people who know so much about, here's the coaching that you need, here's the agility and the movement that you need, here's the food that you need, here's the water that you need. They're all really, really important. And we have our own standards in our home, and we're willing to share those with patients as well. We're going to keep doing these webinars and be able to share some of our family's lifestyle tips. One of the things with the water, I don't know if she said, but volume is important. Half your body weight for sure. But yes, a lot of times, when I said don't drink tap water, it's crap. Bottled water is crap. When you look at the acid levels of that water, it's like a 5. It really needs to be our blood, so 7.2 or higher, and to be able to nourish our bodies appropriately for them to be able to absorb it. They're also really full of junk, honestly. So reverse osmosis pulls out a lot of the chemicals and a lot of the toxins, but then you want to add the minerals back in. So you need to be able to ionize and alkalize. And I think you answered that. I just have a glare on my computer, Jeremy, to see what your answer was. We get N8 water or innate water in our home, and it's a beautiful filtration system that's able to do that for us for really affordable. Because you don't necessarily have to have water shipped into your house, but that's really important for our teens. So half the body weight in ounces. So if you are a patient in my office and you know someone, or you're not a patient in my office and you need your athlete evaluated, you need a neurological scan, you need to know, okay, is my kid fully connected? Am I wasting my time? Am I wasting my beautiful resources of time, money, and energy on a coach, on a training, on gym space, on maybe weight equipment, and they're not even getting the full effect of this. And I need to know, you need to bring your kid in for a neurological scan. We need to get that child checked out. We get the nervous system checked out. We need to make sure they're firing all cylinders and that your precious resources are being utilized in the best way possible, that your kid can reach their potential, whatever it may be, and they're not hitting a ceiling, and they're able to recover, and they jump back from injuries, and they're able to be their best self on the field, because that for them is the most emotionally uplifting thing that we can do, quite honestly, for an athlete. I'm not talking to parents that don't have kids, that have kids that don't play sports and don't give a rip about sports. Athletes love to be able to feel successful and that their hard work paid off, and that they're not just in a slump of they can't do it, because that's really emotionally draining on a child. So I need you guys to bring them in. You need to get your athlete checked. You need to tell other people, come get your athlete checked at Purpose Driven Chiropractic. We have a sports performance, a VIP pass for those who've watched this webinar. It's on the bottom on the offer link there that will get you a consultation with a doctor. You're going to fill out all the paperwork. We're going to talk. We're going to evaluate. We're going to check some of the motor control systems. We're going to run a highly technical neurological scan to see just how great the brain and the body are connected, and are they stuck in that fight or flight and not able to heal and repair? Because that's one of the things that, once again, they're missing out on the prime development if they can't heal and repair and they're not sleeping well. So let's get that checked out. Let's sit down, make a game plan for your kid, get them on the field, get them to their best self, and make sure they're feeling really good about who they are and what they're doing in their time and energy. So thanks for joining me. If you guys are subscribed to this, we're gonna have more webinars coming your way. Basically once a week, we're going to be having these pop up and to be able to share with you, here's what you can do for your family lifestyle wise, and also more for other families who aren't in our office yet, who would like to know more about the benefits of chiropractic care. So thanks for joining me. You guys have a fantastic Thursday evening, and go play with those kids, maybe some sports.